With me is Susan Sizemore, the author of how many books of fantasy and paranormal romance?
I don't know, a lot. Oh, at least 30, maybe 40. I don't keep count anymore.
You've got a fantasy coming out from Tor.
Yep.
A paranormal romance featuring the Prime's vampires coming out from...
Me. I'm doing that one on my own.
Oh, so I thought they were...
I'm going to do that as an ebook. No, I'm doing a Laws of the Blood vampire book for Berkley.
Aha, Laws of the Blood. Okay.
Yes, and I'm doing a urban fantasy for Prime, which is a small independent publishing house. That I'm doing I'm doing, basically it's based on anime. I'm doing an anime-influenced urban fantasy about a Shinigami, which is a ghost hunter.
Yeah, that's a... one thinks of Descendants of Darkness.
Yes, that's one of the influences, is Descendants of Darkness.
And the others, or can you share?
Oh, there's lots of influences. I've watched Bleach, and I've watched a lot of things that involve Shinigami. So
yeah,
actually, Shinigami are not Japanese. The Japanese, there was a German play about a ghost hunter in the 19th century that the Japanese really liked, and they translated it into Japanese, and the Shinigami come out of that. They actually are not Japanese, but they've become a popular Japanese theme in anime and manga, but the Shinigami actually are not Japanese originally.
That's very, very cool. And you're also, the Primes are bringing out an ebook as an indie author.
Yep.
How are you liking that?
I'm loving it. I just recently did a fantasy that's brand new world building, new universe. I didn't think any mainstream publisher would take it, to be honest, because it's too much of too many things and nothing of one thing, but it's an idea that was an idea of my heart, and I decided to write it anyway. And it's sort of like Jane Austen meets Patrick O'Brien on an island world with 3 moons. It's kind of Regency era, only it's its own universe. And I didn't think that, so I decided, okay, I'm going to have it professionally edited, which I did, and get a cover done for it and put it up as an ebook. And I just did this about 2 weeks ago. It's new, out online. It's called Memory of Morning, and it's available as an ebook from Kindle and Nook and all those places.
Memory of Morning.
Yep.
Okay. And the Laws of the Blood book coming out from Berkley. When's that going to be coming?
Not until next fall. 2000. I turned the book in February. It's not my fault. But the book is not scheduled until fall of 2012.
Well, that's the problem with traditional publishing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I go home after Dragon Con and start another one.
Oh my goodness. Hopefully it'll be out quickly after the
I hope so.
Yeah.
The next book will be Bad Elves and Vampires Running Around Cornfields in Iowa in November. It's going to be fun.
Oh.
With flashbacks to Shakespeare's England.
Okay, is this one due in November? Is it coming?
No, this one is due in December. I have to get it started.
Okay. So, yeah, you're coming. Okay. So the Memory of Morning is the current book out. And what do you think will be the next one out? Do you think it's
the next one out?
Yeah.
I'm going to be putting out another ebook. I'm going to be putting out a Vampire Primes as an ebook. I'm working on it now. It's called Primal Craving, and it's a continuation of the Primes universe. It's just going to be an independent ebook.
And Lawrence is featured in this one.
Well, he's not featured. He's supposed to have a cameo, and the cameo is drawing out into more than one chapter. But that's Lawrence. He's not the hero of the book, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah. So, what do you want your fans to know about what you're doing right now?
That I'm still writing. I don't have any paperbacks out this year, but next year it's going to be, next year they're going to be all over the place, and because I'll have the Shinigami book and the fantasy book and the Laws of the Blood book will all be out next year, and I'm getting into independent writing, posting books as ebooks, and just loving that.
Yeah, I got the feeling of that. A little bit about the fantasy that's coming out next year.
Epic Fantasy, the first of a duology. It's, the hero is a drug addict and the heroine's a sex worker. But their job is to save the world from this really nice guy.
The villain's a nice
The
guy.
villain is the nicest person in all the books except for the mass murder and human sacrifice thing. But it's a whole world, a huge kind of a Silk Road world. Most of the heroine is from sort of an Italian setting. The hero is sort of Hungarian, and they meet along the Silk Road, which is not the Silk Road because it is a fantasy world, but I'm really influenced by the history of the whole Central Asian Silk Road. I've always loved it, so I used that as an influence for creating the world. The world itself doesn't actually have a name. I suppose at some point it may come up with one.
Might be nice too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's 2 books will be set in that world, and I don't know if there'll be more. I have ideas, but they're ideas not for the main characters in this book, but they're other countries in this world. So
Great. Anything you'd like to add?
that I love Dragon Con. This is like my 5th or 6th year at Dragon Con, and I just love it.
Good. Great. Thank you very
Hello?
much. Thank you very much, Susan. See ya.